The movie opens with a teenage girl named Tamara Riley arriving at school. She walks into a classroom and hands a book to her teacher, Bill Natali. Suddenly, the two share a passionate kiss. But when Tamara notices the other students staring at them and catches a glimpse of her own unattractive reflection in a mirror, she asks him to stop. Bill laughs along with the students and cruelly tells her that he could never love her. Then, without warning, Mr. Natali wakes Tamara up. She had actually fallen asleep during class. The kiss, the laughter, and the humiliation were all just a dream. A little later, a student named Patrick shoots a spitball at Tamara, making her drop a book about black magic onto the floor. Patrick jokes that a witch has appeared in the classroom, but the teacher tells him to be quiet and gives the book back to her. After class, Mr. Natali stops Tamara and congratulates her. An article she wrote exposing the school athletes for using steroids has just been published in the newspaper. Meanwhile, in the locker room, a girl named Kesha confronts Tamara about the article. Fortunately, Chloe arrives and stands up for her, saving Tamara from being bullied. Tamara leaves the locker room, but the athletes Patrick and Sean still want revenge. They corner her, and she barely escapes by running into Mr. Natali's classroom. The teacher calms the frightened girl down and explains that the athletes only have themselves to blame for taking steroids and possibly destroying their own sports careers. He gives Tamara his handkerchief and praises her for being an excellent student. Feeling comforted, Tamara leans in and tries to kiss him. The moment she realizes what she's doing, she pulls away in embarrassment and quickly leaves the room. What neither of them realizes is that Kesha has been watching the entire scene from behind the door. After school, Sean and Patrick finally catch up with Tamara. They break the amulet she wears and threaten her, furious because the coach has suspended Sean for the rest of the season. Later, Kesha meets with Sean and Patrick and reveals that Tamara is in love with Mr. Natali. The three of them begin plotting how to teach the so-called upstart a lesson. As they discuss their revenge, they notice Roger, a quiet student who works as the school's video reporter. Sean invites him to a party the following night. Their conversation is overheard by Jesse, the new guy at school, who immediately invites himself and his girlfriend Chloe to the party as well. Elsewhere, Bill visits the office of his wife Allison, the school psychologist. He admits that Tamara seems to have developed feelings for him. Allison simply smiles and then shares some happy news. She's pregnant. At the same time, Tamara returns home to a very different world. Her father, who is constantly drunk, orders her to clean the house. Tamara refuses and quietly retreats to her room. Later that night, Tamara's father walks into her room and starts complaining about how miserable his life is. With a bitter smirk, he tells her that all those magic books will never help her fix her own life. Then he walks out, leaving her alone. That evening, Tamara makes a desperate decision. She opens her black magic book and begins performing a dark ritual, a love spell meant for her teacher, Bill Natali. She places the teacher's handkerchief beside a lock of her own hair and calls out to the spirits. She asks for Bill to fall in love with her and for the power to control other people's minds. In exchange, she promises to give her heart and soul. But when the ritual reaches its final step, Tamara freezes. She can't bring herself to cut her palm with the knife, and at the last second, she stops the ritual. The next day, Tamara gets a shocking phone call. It's supposedly Mr. Natali. He tells her that he really likes her and wants to meet her that evening at a hotel. Nervous and excited, Tamara agrees, convinced that her spell actually worked. What she doesn't know is that the caller was Sean, not Mr. Natali. That evening, the students rented 2 hotel rooms. They ask Roger to set up video equipment in one of them, promising him that he's about to capture something incredible. Meanwhile, Tamara gets ready for what she believes is a romantic date. Before leaving, she tears a page out of her black magic book, as if taking a piece of the ritual with her. Soon, the other students arrive at the hotel. Kesha offers Chloe a drink and apologizes for what happened earlier in the school locker room. Then Tamara finally arrives. She walks into the room and finds a bouquet of flowers waiting for her, along with a love note from Bill saying that he'll be out of the shower in a minute. But in the neighboring room, the students are secretly watching everything on a monitor. Tamara slowly undresses and lies down on the bed, waiting for Bill. From the camera angle, the others still can't clearly see her face, and some of them don't even realize that the girl on the screen is Tamara. Sean, pretending to be Mr. Natali, whispers through the door that he loves her. Tamara softly replies that she feels the same way, and then without warning, Sean bursts into the room holding a video camera. On the monitor, Roger, Jesse, and Chloe watch in stunned silence as Tamara panics and desperately tries to escape. Chloe immediately realizes the prank has gone too far and runs outside to help her. But Tamara, humiliated and convinced that Chloe is part of the cruel setup, suddenly snaps and violently attacks her. Jesse desperately tries to pull the girls apart, but nothing works. Meanwhile, Sean keeps recording the whole thing on his camera. He and Patrick try to calm Tamara down, but in the struggle, they accidentally shove her. She falls backwards, slams her head against the table, and dies instantly. Sean immediately orders everyone to stay quiet. He threatens to pin everything on Jesse and Chloe because the video clearly shows them fighting with Tamara just moments before her death. Later that night, the group drives deep into the woods. The terrified high school students dig a hole and bury Tamara's body, hoping to erase what happened. But then something impossible occurs. Tamara suddenly disappears from the grave, attacks Sean and rips out his throat, then snaps Patrick's neck. Chloe wakes up in horror. It was only a nightmare, or so it seems. But when she looks at the scar on her hand, she realizes the truth. Tamara really did die. The next day at school, after finishing a test, Chloe walks out of the classroom when she suddenly sees Tamara standing there, and she is completely different. Gone is the shy, fragile girl. Now she is bold, confident, and strangely fearless. The students who buried her body the night before can hardly believe what they are seeing. After everyone leaves the classroom, Tamara calmly apologizes to Mr. Natali for her behavior the previous day and tells him that everything is fine now. Later, the students gather in another classroom and tell Keisha about Tamara's unbelievable return. Patrick becomes convinced that Tamara is a witch, but Sean mocks him and says there must be a logical explanation. According to him, they probably buried her alive. At that exact moment, inside the video workshop where Roger works, the recording of Tamara's death suddenly appears on every monitor in the room. Then Tamara herself walks in. She forces Roger to experience exactly what she suffered underground. Hands scraped raw and bleeding, a mouth filled with sand and dirt, and worms crawling through her flesh. The horrifying visions suddenly stop. Tamara stares at him and coldly warns that he will have to pay for staying silent about the abuse that led to her death. A short time later, Roger appears on camera, trembling as he admits that he has done something terrible. His image begins broadcasting on monitors throughout the school. Tamara is controlling him. She forces Roger to cut out his own tongue, then slice off his ear, and finally drive a knife into his eye. Hearing the screams, Mr. Natali rushes to save him. He smashes the glass with a chair and breaks into the video workshop, but he is already too late. After school, the students try to make sense of the tragedy. They convince themselves that Roger panicked after Tamara's death and took his own life. But deep down, they all know something far more terrifying is happening. At that moment, Tamara suddenly appears, wearing a chilling smile. She thanks the kids for making her stronger. Chloe tries to reason with her, but Tamara coldly warns that every student will pay for what they've done. And then she walks away. Terrified by everything happening around them, the kids head to Tamara's grave. When they get there, they make a horrifying discovery. The grave looks disturbed, as if Tamara somehow clawed her way out from beneath the ground. Then out of nowhere, Chloe sees Tamara's rotting corpse standing right in front of her. For a second, she freezes in fear, but thankfully it turns out to be only a terrifying vision. After the hallucination fades, Chloe notices a torn page from the black magic book lying on the grave. It's covered in dirt and blood, making the writing impossible to read. That evening, Tamara shows up at Mr. Natali's house. Bill assumes the schoolgirl needs psychological help and tells her that Allison still hasn't returned home from school. But Tamara didn't come for counseling. She begins to seduce Bill, moving closer and softly kissing him. The teacher pulls away and asks her to stop. Tamara leaves without arguing, completely confident that sooner or later, Bill won't be able to resist her. The next morning, Tamara walks into the psychologist's office and says something deeply unsettling. She claims she would never want to live to 30 with a husband while being unable to give him what he truly wants. Allison becomes visibly uncomfortable and asks Tamara to come back later. As Tamara leaves, she drops a final chilling line: Allison will never have children with Bill. Later, a shaken Allison confronts her husband. She asks how Tamara could possibly know that they have been trying unsuccessfully to have a baby for years. Bill insists he never told the girl anything. Allison doesn't believe him. Hurt and suspicious, she walks away, unaware that Tamara had secretly overheard their private conversation. Meanwhile, in the school cafeteria, Patrick is busy inviting his friends and several attractive high school girls to a party at his house. At the same time, an angry and confused Bill calls Tamara into his classroom, demanding to know how she found out about the deeply personal problems in his family. The girl tells the teacher to forget about his wife, promising she can give him everything he wants. But Bill refuses to even talk about it and angrily throws her out of the classroom. As Chloe walks past the room, she notices Tamara and the teacher arguing. That same evening, Allison tells her husband that the earlier test was wrong. She is not pregnant after all. Back at Tamara's house, her drunken father starts harassing her again. The moment Tamara touches his face, she sees the truth. Her mother left because the man was always drunk. Furious, Tamara uses her supernatural power and forces the old alcoholic to swallow an entire beer bottle, glass and all. Later that night at a party, Patrick is mixing extra strong cocktails, hoping it will make it easier to hook up with the high school girls. Suddenly, Tamara appears at the door. The host tries to kick the uninvited girl out, but Tamara touches his face, shows him the terrifying vision of what happened at the hotel, and completely takes control of his mind. Everyone realizes something is seriously wrong with Patrick. Chloe is convinced it has something to do with the witchcraft book, especially the missing page they still have. A few moments later, Kesha and Chloe head to the bathroom. Meanwhile, Sean sees Patrick dancing with Tamara and tries to pull his friend away. But Tamara touches Sean's face too. After experiencing the same horrifying vision from the hotel, he also falls under her control. Now the three of them begin dancing together, and Jesse watches in shock as Tamara leads the boys upstairs into the bedroom. Inside the room, Tamara discovers that Sean and Patrick have repeatedly taken girls to a cheap motel, gotten them drunk, and taken advantage of them. Wanting them to experience the same helplessness, Tamara forces the two boys to turn on each other. Downstairs, Jesse tells Chloe and Kesha everything he saw. Kesha rushes into the bedroom, but the door slams shut behind her. She begs Tamara to leave Sean alone, but Tamara simply touches Kesha's face, and she too falls under the girl's control. Tamara tells Kesha that she has been torturing herself for far too long, starving herself constantly just to avoid gaining weight. Suddenly, Kesha starts vomiting blood, but it is only a terrifying vision. Tamara then tells her to eat more because she is far too thin. Moments later, Kesha goes downstairs and begins devouring everything in sight. Jesse and Chloe finally manage to stop her. A little later, the three of them leave the party, and Chloe decides to call Mr. Natali. Hearing that, Keisha secretly calls Tamara and manages to whisper that they are waiting for the teacher before Chloe knocks the phone from her hand. And then Jesse and Chloe notice something horrifying. Kesha has been chewing on her own fingers. At the same time, Tamara orders the lust-crazed guys to get dressed and follow her. When Bill arrives, the kids tell him everything. But even after hearing the whole story, he still refuses to believe that Tamara is a witch. Desperate for answers, they decide to speak with Tamara's father. But the moment they enter the house, they discover a horrifying scene. Her father is dying on the floor, with shattered pieces of a glass bottle lodged deep in his throat. The three of them rush upstairs to Tamara's bedroom, where they find the teacher's handkerchief and a mysterious spell book. When they place the torn page back on top of the book, it eerily reattaches itself as if by magic. Reading further, they uncover the truth behind the love spell. It began working the moment Tamara fell at the hotel, cracked her head open, and spilled her blood. That blood awakened something supernatural. Tamara came back from the dead, gained the power to control anyone she touched, and her life became permanently linked to Bill's. Terrified, the teacher tries to call his wife, but no one answers the phone. At that exact moment, Allison hears strange noises downstairs. She grabs a knife and goes to investigate. A blade suddenly swings at her, and she barely escapes. She hides in the basement while Sean and Patrick hunt her down, completely enslaved by Tamara's will. During the chase, Allison slices her leg on broken glass, but she fights back. She overpowers Patrick and drives a screwdriver straight into his neck, killing him instantly. Sean attacks next, but Allison manages to kill him too by plunging a sharp wooden stick into his stomach. Seconds later, 2 police officers arrive after Bill calls for help. One officer takes Allison to the hospital, while the other stays behind to inspect the scene. Meanwhile, Bill and the students bring Kesha to the hospital. When Bill learns that his wife is there as well, he rushes to her room, leaving the kids downstairs. At the same time, Tamara arrives at Bill's house and learns from the officers which hospital Allison was taken to. Bill explains everything to his wife and tries to get her out of the hospital before Tamara reaches them. But Tamara arrives and instantly takes control of one of the police officers. At the same moment, Kesha wakes up and violently attacks Jesse and Chloe. The terrified kids hide in the kitchen, but Kesha catches up to Chloe and is about to kill her. Jesse distracts Kesha to save Chloe, stabbed multiple times in the stomach. Chloe finally knocks Kesha unconscious, but Jesse bleeds out and dies in front of her. Meanwhile, Bill and Allison flee to the rooftop, with Tamara and the mind-controlled cop right behind them. Following the trail of blood, Chloe reaches the roof and swings an axe into Tamara's back. But the attack does absolutely nothing. Tamara calmly pulls the axe out, and the wound heals before their eyes. Then she touches Chloe's face. Surprisingly, she cannot control her. Chloe's pure thoughts and uncorrupted soul make her immune to Tamara's power. Bill begs Tamara to stop. For a brief moment, Tamara realizes the horror of what she has become, and her body begins to rot into a decaying corpse. But Tamara refuses to die. Her beautiful appearance returns, and she tells Mr. Natali that their fates are forever bound together. In that instant, Bill finally understands how to destroy the monster. He says goodbye to his wife, kisses Tamara one last time, and throws himself off the roof with her. They crash to the ground together and die instantly. And that is where the movie ends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also subscribe to this channel for more.